Grace, everyone. At this instance, I have arisen to say it is good to be here. By the unity of the Spirit, of mind, of aim, and of purpose, we are here together. And as God declared, behold, the people is one. And they have all one language. And this they began to do. Now nothing will be restrained from them to do that which they have imagined to do. Marvel not at this great unity. Marvel not at the great unfoldment of supply. Marvel not at the majesty and the access in this grace wherein I stand. Because there is a key for each and every man. I have long since declared the spirit of the consciousness of the presence of God is the source of all supply. And it will satisfy every good desire.
Yes, sir.
Aren't you glad? To be conscious of God's presence, it's a key that will unlock every barred and shut door. Men are living in lacks, wants, and limitations. Even in this great country of abundance, where the abundance of the fullness of the consciousness of good, and no space is vacant of the fullness thereof, is flowing so free for one and for all. And yet men live in lacks and wants and limitations, having left that key flower. As the last speaker mentioned, thousands of millions in the European countries and in other countries living in lacks, wants, and limitations, adverse and undesirable conditions. There are many in this present country, the land of the free and the home of the brave, all because they have denied and refused the commission of Christ, and men have failed to preach it as Christ was commissioned to be preached. Back in the prophetic age, you find where God said, his name shall be called Emmanuel, which is being interpreted, God is with us. That is the way to success and prosperity. I mean economically. I mean socially. I mean financially. I mean intellectually. And from every angle expressible. His name shall be called Emmanuel, which is being interpreted, God is with us. We as ministers of the gospel, especially those of the Christian world, should have been preaching God's presence from the time that Jesus ascended out of their sights, you should have let all mankind know God is present with all mankind. If not with others, he is with you. And with this conviction, that would have been the key to solve your every problem and to adjust matters satisfactorily for you. God is present. And when this commission came forth by the prophet through the prophetic age as a prediction of Jesus and of Christ's coming, his name shall be called Emmanuel, which is being interpreted, God is with us. It was a key to the mystery of the scriptures and to the secret of the ages for the past and for the future. How God's presence would solve all problems and would adjust all matters satisfactorily for you. Good many people say, I have put up myself as God. It's a privilege of you to do the same if you wish to. If recognizing God's presence in all simplicity, conscientiously, and sincerely, and transcending all personality and all individualities, and even transcending your own personality and your own individuality, it leaves nothing but God Almighty to be observed. That's what it's all about. God is impersonal by nature. And that is one of the great mysteries. As God is impersonal, it's your privilege to copy after the fashion of the sample and example portrayed before you. What a privilege to live in such a recognition. And above all, be conscious of God's actual presence, where you have been conscious of the other fellows better known as you know what. People make themselves conscious of the other fellow's presence. We use the term the other fellow because we do not like to call such a name that is not advantageous. They are conscious of the other fellow's presence, but a good many people do not wish to be conscious of God's presence. God is present here and universally and blessing the people all over this wide extended place, where God himself, not only God the Son, but where God himself shall forever reign and scatter night away. Aren't you glad? By this we shall have a righteous government. But the consciousness of God's presence is a great essential. For his name was and still is called Emmanuel. Makes you feel good, doesn't it? God is present. And as I have long since declared, by composition as a model for the consideration of all Christendom, the spirit of the consciousness of the presence of God is the source of all supply, and it will satisfy every good desire. More than 40 years ago, by composition, I brought out that little motto for the consideration of the people. When they say, continue to stress and emphasize the fact that there was so much demonstration of supply in evidence and my experience. How do you do it, and where do you get so much money from? I would often say, I did not say I had any money. But they would say, yes, but it takes money to do all of this, what you are doing. And volitionally, spontaneously, and instantaneously came forth the composition by inspiration as a thunderbolt out of a dark, cloudy, stormy sky. The spirit of the consciousness of the presence of God is the source of all supply, and it will satisfy every good desire. Let's stop. I say that I'm conscious of God's presence, even if you are not conscious of it. Therefore, David caught the glimpse of the mystery in his psalmic prediction and declared, Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He said, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. People got away from that thought of God being with them. Can you not see the mystery? And therefore, they lived and groped in lacks and wants and limitations until now, subject to the oppressions of the politicians and other crooked representatives of government and officials, bringing panics and famines, lacks and wants and limitations upon the people. And the poor people were the ones to be the burden bearers. Oh, how glorious it is to know those who are with me, even through the time of the depressions, of panics, and of famines, and of all of the extreme emergencies. I carried into myself and with me and in my connections the abundance of the fullness of the consciousness of good. And no space has been vacant up until now of the fullness thereof. In the last war, when people could not get sugar, when they could not get meat, our tables were laden with it, just as it is here now. Aren't you glad? Spirit of the consciousness of the presence of God, which is the source of all supply, is the same that was in the beginning when God as spirit and spirit alone, without flesh, body, blood, and bones, moved out upon the face of the waters according to the historians. Say, let there be light. There was light. When God had no visible earth, and the earth was void and without form, according to the historians, God said, let dry land appear. Aren't you glad? Dry land came forth into expression as a creative prediction of bringing into materialization and into tangibilization, making material things that were invisible, making visible things that were invisible, as a creative prediction of what we would enjoy in God's presence. Coming all the way down the line, 4,004 years after that time, Jesus came. Can you not see the mystery? And when the people were hungry, Jesus said, "They let them sit on the ground." And spoke into materialization and into outer expression the things that were invisible, intangible, and not observable. God made them to be observed. Can you not see the mystery? I carry in myself the abundance of the fullness from every angle expressible, so that all mankind might recognize God's actual presence, and the problems will be solved for them. I know it may sound fanatical. As I've often said, it may sound somewhat as if though I'm an ignoramus. Oh, how good it is to be ignorant if such an expression of majesty, infinite love and mercy and compassion are expressions of ignorance. It brings the desirable results for all of the people. Can you not see the mystery? I mean, it solves your problem politically, legalistically. No need go around in lacks, wants, and limitations, adverse and undesirable conditions, and feel as though your problems are not solved and will not be solved for you. For as in the beginning of the creation, when there was no visible earth in expression, as it was void and without form, God said, let dry land appear. I'm just speaking historically now. I'm not saying it was true necessarily, but according to the doctrine, it was true. And that's the point of place where I'm working from and getting results at it too. Atheists and agnostics may say that was not true. Well, it's true or not, it makes no difference to me. I get the results out of what I believe. Bring results to millions of others the universe over. By this mighty name, I heard one say, in my name ye shall cast out, you know what. Upon this rock I shall build my church, and the very gates of you know what shall not prevail against it. The opposing forces of the political, legal world, and any other field of expression, which is definitely understood to be the gates of the other place when they oppose righteousness. They cannot hinder me. They have not hindered me for the last 40 years. But just going on stronger and stronger. Come on! And I say, live in this recognition. But I am giving you, as Jesus said to Simon, the keys of the kingdom. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Can you not see the mystery? That key flower was it which Simon had. Although the story told of the shepherd on the mountainside may be deemed as a fairy tale, but it's logical and deep to be considered. I give you the keys of the kingdom. Now, what was that giving you? I say that thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Christ gave it to Simon by his Father which was within him, and let him know that Christ Jesus was the Son of the living God. That was the key that would unlock every barred and shut door. It would unlock the heart's doors of the children of men. I need not say more at this particular instance. From this you may form your conclusions for your future advancement and for your betterment universally. For as you have heard from Australia, what they are doing and what they have said in Australia, they have declared they have the abundance of the fullness there as well as here. Aren't you glad? As well as we have it here. I have shown to the world conclusively once and forever it's nothing I do personally. See the mystery? I know lots of people come and think, as the last speaker said, that I'm a great Mamena. I believe some of our visiting guests know that language. But however, we do not even like to call the name or term in relating to me. But whether or not it is a true thing that I am in Australia, New Zealand, I am in Panama, I am in England, I am in Germany, I am in Switzerland just as much as I am here. I do not need to be there personally, for it's not a personal issue. Oh, John Brown. He did not give the American slaves their emancipation physically, for that was not the way of the cross in reality. That was not the way of Christ. He tried to bring it about by violence. Then it came a little nearer to the way of righteousness through by our great emancipator, Abraham Lincoln, through the political world. But that was not all. He said that this whole nation might have a new birth of freedom under God. That government by the people, for the people, and through the people might not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln gave them their personal emancipation, as it may have been termed. But I came to give them their general emancipation, to emancipate you from the slavery of segregation, discrimination, racism, and every other abominable ism that spells division. I need not say more at this instance, but I thought to stress these points of view for your consideration. Many of our great educators need to have this new birth of freedom. And many of them not only need to have the new birth of freedom, but they need another degree. Aren't you glad? I thought when I read of this lady, when she received her degree from a college, I mean a doctor's degree, and the paper said she wanted to be of service to her people. If that is what she said, I'm sending this message to her now. She needs another degree. Aren't you glad? We are not seeking to elect congressmen, not even so much as congressmen or senators or representatives in our government in any way for our people, as it may be termed. If we have that degree only and do not get away from that which is deemed our people, they need to get another degree from Father Divine. I desire to give them a new birth of freedom under God, so that they might represent one nation indivisible with liberty and justice for all. That's what I'm told. Out of all of the higher education, it does not profit until you can get away from racism. It matters not with me if the prejudice, dictocrats and others give you a school, give you hospitals worth billions and trillions, even quadrillions of dollars, unless we get away from that mortal concept of it being for a race or color, they need another degree. These are hard sayings. The Jewish people had progressed greatly and advanced marvelously. Oh, it was wonderful the way they had advanced. But because they were Jews and not just people, they were made subject to the barbarism of Hitler and Hitlerism. Their wealth did not save them. Not until we got into it. When we got into the fight, Mussolini and Hitler, they were obliged to surrender unconditionally. We're coming on a little further. Told you, he was obliged to surrender unconditionally. Tried to kill himself, tried to commit suicide to keep from paying the penalty, but he was obliged to pay. So we shall actually have a government by the people, for the people, and through the people, that shall not perish from the earth. And all of these proposals, as I gave, recorded on the peace stamps, will give you first-hand information concerning my work and my mission and what I am endeavoring for all of the people. Now that last stamp there, it does speak of the Africans. But I had not and did not just propose for the Africans alone. I propose for the independence of India and other countries, their independence, and they did receive their independence. Aren't you glad? Not only proposing for their independence, but I also propose and plan and declare the American Indians must receive just compensation for that which was taken from them. Uncle Sam is doing it, isn't he? Now, in this last stamp you see there, in reference to retroactive compensation, are you being deprived of equality? and unjust compensation because of previous condition of servitude. When thousands of people earn on their meager sum, some places of only $1 per week, when they should have been earning at least $25 per week. Although these many years, all because of previous condition of servitude, of inequality, of division, and of racism. I thank you.